$11 billion. Yan ang inutang ng isang US company to buy Bitcoin. I'm talking about a company called Microstrategy, actually now called Strategy, that's founded by Michael Saylor. Now, if you're into Bitcoin, you would see Michael Saylor as a legend. And if you're not into Bitcoin, you would probably think he's an insane person. Ngayon, tignan nga natin ngayon kung bakit ba niya ito ginawa at ano ba yung nangyari sa kanyang sugal sa pagbibili ng Bitcoin. And if this is a risky strategy, a smart strategy, and if it will pay off, and what will happen pag bumagsak ang price ng Bitcoin. Unang-una, ano ba itong Microstrategy? Microstrategy is a software company that's been around for over 2 decades. At for the longest time, Microstrategy was trading at anywhere between $7 to $22 a share. This was before buying Bitcoin. And after they bought Bitcoin, the price of their stock went up from a high of $22 a share all the way to where it is today at $372 per share. Now, why did this happen? Nag-umpisa talaga lahat to in 2020 when Michael Saylor was looking at the Microstrategy books at tinitignan niya yung kanilang balance sheet. Na-realize siya doon that they had a good amount of cash reserves. The problem is, pag cash ang hawak mo, it depreciates in value. Nagde-depreciate ang cash dahil sa inflation. Anywhere in the world, if you're holding cash, including the Philippines, bumababa yung halaga ng pera mo because of inflation, because governments can't help but print more money. At dito na paisip si Michael Saylor and he was thinking, what kind of asset can outpace inflation and do better than the rate of inflation and hold the value of their money? At tinignan niya lahat ng klaseng assets including real estate, commodities such as gold, treasury bills, at dito niya na-discover yung Bitcoin. And after studying Bitcoin and understanding the properties and the value of Bitcoin, he went all in. Nilagay niya lahat ng kanilang cash reserves sa Bitcoin and he bought his first Bitcoins on August 10, 2020. He bought over 21,000 Bitcoins at an average price of over $11,000 per Bitcoin. Tapos noon, he bought another 17,000 Bitcoins in September 2020 for about the same price. At dito nagkaroon ng idea si Michael Saylor that he can borrow against those assets to be able to buy more Bitcoin. And he borrowed roughly around $8 billion to be able to buy Bitcoin on top of raising another $3 to $4 billion in preferred shares. And what he did with the raised capital is he bought more Bitcoin. How much more Bitcoin did he buy? Strategy now owns over 592,000 Bitcoins. That's basically about 2.8% of the total supply of Bitcoins. At dahil dito yung kumpanya niya naging proxy na for Bitcoin. And institutions and investors were buying the Strategy stock because most of them cannot buy Bitcoin yet. At pag tinignan mo tong chart na to, ever since they bought Bitcoin, yung price ng Microstrategy pretty much tracks Bitcoin but with a higher volatility. And as you can see here, since Michael Saylor bought in August 2020 to today, Bitcoin has had a return of over 500%, pero Microstrategy has had a return on their stock price of over 1,100%. So grabe talaga yung pag-increase ng valuation ng Strategy ever since they bought Bitcoin. Ngayon, I'm sure some of you are asking, paano kung bumaba ang price sa Bitcoin? Paano na yung inutang nila? And will they be at risk? So, ito na yung nakita ko. Unang-una, the loans that they have are long-term loans. Tapos, hindi lang yon, they're called convertible notes. Ibig sabihin nun that majority of these loans have zero interest. So, ang tanong dito, why would any investor institution lend money to Strategy at zero interest? Kasi ang convertible notes works like this. Basically, pinautang nila yung pera. Let's say they lent $10 million to MicroStrategy as a convertible note. Tapos, dahil it's convertible, ibig sabihin nito is pwede nila i-convert yung utang na yon into shares. The idea is, if MicroStrategy shares hit $672 per share, pwede nila i-convert yung loan to shares that they can buy at $672. And if it surpasses the value of $672, they can sell it for a profit. And pag hindi naman tumaas ang presyo ng Strategy above $672 a share, they can just ask for their loan back and just get the full amount of the loan with no interest. Ang maganda lang dun is may protection sila from downside risk in case bumagsak ang presyo ng MicroStrategy. So it's basically a risk-reward ratio. Ngayon, gaano ba ka-risky itong ginawa ni Michael Saylor and will they be in trouble if Bitcoin crashes? So let's take a look at that. Unang-una, pag tinignan mo yung mga debt nila at liabilities nila, totals $11 billion. But if you look at the 592,000 Bitcoins they own, it's currently valued at over $62 billion at today's prices. That's 6 times more than the loan that they currently hold. So in other words, kaya nila i-cover yung loan nila, no problem. On top of that, if ever kailangan ngang ma-redeem yung mga loans na yan, kayang-kaya nila yan i-cover by selling off some of their Bitcoin holdings and they would still have over 50 billion in Bitcoins. Pero what if the price of Bitcoin crashes? Let's say it crashes to $50,000 per Bitcoin. Will Microstrategy be in trouble? Well, it will hurt a lot. Yan ang masasabi ko sa inyo. Pero they will not be liquidated because even at a price of $50,000 per Bitcoin and they had to sell off all their Bitcoins to pay for all their debt, they would still have a significant asset reserve even after paying off all that debt. That's because at $50,000 per Bitcoin, that means they would have about $31 billion in Bitcoin. And if they paid off all the 11 billion liabilities and debt that they have, they would still have $20 billion in assets, which is still fairly significant. Kaya pag tinignan mo dito, for me, it looks like Strategy has the right strategy. And because these are long-term debts, it can withstand the cycles of Bitcoin until the time that it's matured or time to be paid off. At pag tinignan mo naman yung risk dito, I don't think we're gonna ever see Bitcoin at the $50,000 level ever again. And even if we did hit that price, I'm sure Strategy would just buy more Bitcoins instead. And what about the upside? From the way it's looking right now, Bitcoin's adoption is gaining momentum. More nation states are buying Bitcoin, more companies are buying Bitcoin, more institutions are buying Bitcoin. Because of that, analysts are predicting anywhere from $250,000 per Bitcoin all the way to $1 million per Bitcoin. Even if it just does $250,000 per Bitcoin, that means that Strategy's Bitcoin will have appreciated to over $150 billion per Bitcoin at the minimum. And if it hits $1 million, it would be worth $592 billion. So let's just assume it hits $250,000 per Bitcoin by 2030. They can pay off the $11 billion in liabilities in debt and they would still have $140 billion in assets after that. So now only time can tell if Michael Saylor is an absolute genius or an absolute madman. Kayo, ano tingin nyo? Do you agree with what he did? Would you do the same if you had money or would you borrow to buy more Bitcoins? Feel free to share all your opinions. I'd love to hear all of them. Write it all in the comment section below. And just a reminder for everyone, hindi to financial advice. I'm just merely sharing with you the information I have about MicroStrategy for educational purposes and entertainment purposes. And if you like content like this, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on that notification bell para you're notified of the latest videos. Thanks so much, guys. This is Kristan. I'll see you on the next video.